And
Yep.
I'm happy
All right.
to go. Good.
Go ahead, Randy.
No, all good. I can see the cursor moving now, so you're all set.
Okay, good. Have you guys attended the just the regular webinar that we did for, you know, managing purchase orders and pricing and all that stuff?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So the login for the vendor managed portion of the supply chain portal is the same. You go to the same URL, you log in with the same user. It's just an extra bit of functionality that's available to you folks that are not available to just the standard vendors. And so that's why I didn't show the vendor managed inventory part yesterday. We just showed what standard vendors are going to be using, since that's the largest majority of vendors that work with BJ Suits program. So like I said, URL is the same. I'm going to just log in with a test URL here. I'm sorry, test user. And let's see here. I think I called it a meat vendor dot, or no, I'm sorry, it's produce vendor dot mi to manage the inventory. Let's see if I can open the password here. Oh, okay, yeah, and everything looks the same. Everything functions the same. For you guys, what you're going to have is this additional capability, a menu item here. These 3 blocks here, if you hover over it, it's called the allocation worksheet. What you're going to do is you're just going to click on that, and it's going to take you to the allocation worksheet. And once we start using this, you'll see it's very similar to other things that you've used. When you come in here, there's a place for you to select the item catalog, and it's just a simple drop-down box. If you have more than one catalog that you're operating off of, those will all appear here. The BJ team is going to create an item catalog initially for you folks, and it's going to have all your items on it. But if you place orders for certain groups of items at a time, in other words, you work through, you know, one group and then you finish that and you go through another group, you can create separate item catalogs for yourself and then be able to reference them back here if that's a more logical way that you guys work. So you just select the item catalog, you put the start date in. This will be where the allocation worksheet starts, and then you type in the number of days. It defaults to 7, but you can go out basically as far as you want. Some folks need to go out 56 days, so it can do that. It can go beyond that. We don't really have any limitations on it, but I'm just going to put 17 days on here just to show you what it looks like. And then you just press the search button. All right. And what pops up is a list of the items and a list of the days and some relevant columns. Now because this is a demo system, there's some things that are missing here that I need to tell you about right off the bat. When you guys go in and access this, you're going to see all your items, and in addition, you're going to see each item for each DC appear here. So if you're shipping to all 3 Burris DCs, this blueberry item, you'd see 3 rows here, 1 for each combination of the item and the DC. Okay, so that's the initial presentation that's given to you. You can filter that down by DC if you want to, using some other capabilities I'm going to show you in just a second. But the initial view is it shows you all items for all DCs, and you can enter in buy amounts for all DCs at the same time. So that's a little bit of a departure from what you're used to today in FoodLink. I believe you can only buy DC by DC in there. But this will show you all the DCs at the same time. Okay. Right now we're looking at the allocation worksheet by starting on Friday, and it'll just you can just scroll to the right to go out 17 days, and this will show you all your buy quantities and inventory amounts and things of that nature for all 17 days. So you can just scroll back and forth there as far as you need to. As I mentioned, the item numbers here, the description, the DC that you're buying for is under the DC column. There's this DWL column that stands for dwell. That is a framework or a guide for how many days the product should sit in the warehouse. Okay, it's, from what I understand, it's not rigid. It's sort of more like a guideline. So for this test item, these blueberries here, they sit in the warehouse for 15 days. Okay. The average column is an average 8-week movement. So what's the average movement of this particular item over the past 8 weeks, okay, by day? And then for each day, we have an inventory column, an inbound column, which is the orders that are coming into, the purchase orders that are coming into the Burris DC from the supplier. How much of that product we want to buy for that day, that's what the buy column is. And then the OB, that's the outbound for BJ's club orders. That's the value for that. Okay. If we scroll over here to Monday, we get something that looks a little bit more probably realistic here, except the IB column is 0. See that we're going to have an inventory on Monday of 500 here for this item. We're going to buy 375, and we got 340 going out to the clubs. Okay. And what you can do is you guys will come in here and you'll change this buy column to whatever you think it needs to be. The OB column is coming in from DJ's forecasting system and getting automatically populated. So that's where those values are coming from. And then you folks will come in and enter the buy quantities here. You guys still with me?
Yes.
Yep, got it.
Okay. So what you can do is you can type in whatever the value needs to be here. If this needs to be 400, when you tab out of that, it'll automatically calculate this INV value. So basically, this INV ends up being, invoice plus buy minus outbound equals invoice. Yeah, I'm sorry, inventory.
Right.
Inventory. Yep, gotcha. Okay, so if you need to, you can play with these numbers just to get some sort of play some what if scenarios. So if this needs to be 375, that'll show you what the inventory is the following day based on the club orders we have going out and stuff like that. So you can mess around with those things whatever you need to. So if this needs to be like 500, yeah. Okay.
Got it.
All right. Pretty straightforward so far.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, got it.
Good. All right. One other thing I want to show you here is that this IB column, perhaps you saw this before. If you hover over it, it'll show you the purchase orders for that day that represent and make up that value. So there might be 4 or 5 purchase orders that make up that 500 value. And if there are, you would see all 5 purchase orders in this little hover over here, tell you what the purchase order number is, the quantity on that purchase order, and who the supplier is. And what you can do is you can click on that, and it pops up the quick edit screen. And if you need to make a change, you can just make a change to it right here. Okay, so that needs to be 505, and maybe the price is wrong. Maybe that's 25.55. You confirm that. Okay, and it'll change that. Okay, now the reason that didn't go to 500 and whatever I changed it to is because it's a change that you made. BJ's needs to approve it. Once BJ's approves it, then it becomes whatever you changed it to.
Okay.
Okay. So any of those POs can be changed. If there is a purchase order for that item that perhaps is not for you guys, you'll be able to see it in the list. You'll be able to see it in the list of POs. You just won't be able to edit those POs that are not yours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So we covered inbound, editing purchase orders from here. Oh, one other thing too is, say we went back to the 12th and we went and we hovered over this ID column here, and we saw the purchase orders come up. But since it's the 12th and those were shipped in and received and everything else, the value that shows up in the purchase order here will be the actual value that was received into the warehouse, not what was actually ordered. So if there's any difference there, you'll see that difference reflected in the quantities that pop up in the hover over here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Pretty standard stuff. Sounds like it's all stuff that you guys would expect to be there.
After we've entered.
Yep.
After we've entered what we want them to approve, we would then hit save changes or buy inventory.
Yeah, save changes is the one you want to enter. You folks don't actually have there's a security on that buy inventory, because that's the thing that actually cuts the POs and makes sure all the pricing is correct. So for you folks, the save changes button is enabled. When BJ's comes in and they look at this exact same screen, they have their buy inventory button is enabled. And they just come in, press the button, and it starts cutting. It takes them through the process whereby they cut all the POs from it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just a few convenience things here for you. There's some buttons down here in the bottom left-hand corner. You can collapse all the days down so that you can see just the INV values. Okay, and this might give you just a high overview of the movement of the inventory. And if you need to make a change on a particular day, you just click on it and it expands that day. You can come down, well, probably not Wednesday, we probably want to start here with Tuesday. Perhaps we want to do a buy of 250 here. Okay, and then you can collapse that again if you want to, and work from this view if you want to. You can expand them all just again by just going down to the expand all button down here at the bottom.
Sounds good.
Just a little bit of a convenience thing there. And the final thing I want to show you is there's this advanced search filters on the left here. If you expand that, you'll see a drop-down box, and this will allow you to filter the list down here. So you say, okay, I have this item catalog, but I only want to see stuff for Elkton. You would come into the location here, click Elkton, and it would filter all of the items that are displayed here by Elkton. Same thing, Rocky Hill, Orlando, whatever you want to do there. So you can, you can initially select by catalog and then filter it out by location if you want to. You can also just type the name of an item in here. So if you want to let's focus on blueberries, just type the blue, whatever in there, and any part of the description or the item number. There it is, 13399. Okay. I was wondering why it did filter, because they all start with 912. All right, 9123. So you can see that information there. Also, so that's some drilling down, some filtering capabilities there. Also, if you come in here, you don't actually have to use a catalog. You come in here and it's like, I know which item I want to work with, and I don't want to see all the rest of my other items that are in my catalog. If I just come in here and say blue and do a search, it'll just load the blueberries, and that's it.
Okay.
Okay. So those are mostly just sort of convenience kind of filtering things for you there. But in general, the purchasing of items or the allocation of which items should be bought and how much value or the value to assign to the buy column is very similar to what you're used to.
Okay, got it.
That's all I got to show you. So,
Oh,
any questions from you
Then,
guys?
yeah, two questions. How will we know that a truck has been received, and what, in other words, it's tomorrow morning, and I want to see if the truck got in and was received. Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, do you have the purchase order number?
Well, I don't have any purchase orders yet because we haven't
You will,
started
right?
using the system yet. Yeah.
Okay. So what you can do is if you have the purchase order number, you can come down here and click on purchase orders, and the purchase order number should appear one of two ways. The status will be in C for closed.
Okay.
That's one way you can tell. You can also click on it, and under the quantity column here, there's a received value, and they'll tell you exactly the amounts that were received.
Perfect. Okay. Got it. All right. Well, I don't see an issue here.
Good. That's what we like to hear.
Okay. Yeah, you explained it very well. And actually, I was screwing around. That's the wrong word. I was playing. I was in the environment yesterday.
Yes.
It's in the demo program, and I was going through the VMI. It was enabled on the demo program, and I was able to. I couldn't enter any quantities, but I kind of got an idea of what we had to do, and everything you've told me pretty much jives with what I thought. So, good deal. So then I say as we go live Monday, so come Monday, I should be able to enter orders for the following week.
You should, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. Good deal.
Yeah. Have you received your production user IDs from us?
That's the password to get in? Is that what?
Yep.
What is that?
They said they were temporary.
Yeah, they said they were temporary, but we got them.
You did. Okay. So if you log into bscp.burrislogistics.com with the username and temporary password that you got, you should be, when you log in, you should be prompted to change it, and then when you change it, you should be able to log in then.
Well, the reason I guess we weren't prompted to change it yesterday is because the system didn't go live yet.
Yeah, well, the system is live. We're actually using it with other vendors. So there's BJ's vendors that have already been using it for about a month. So
Okay.
So I want to.
I'm going to log into it right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to log. You can't see it, of course, what I'm doing.